Hey YouTube, what's up? How's it going? My name's Nate with Nate Night Talks. This is my first ever reaction video. Now I'm just going to give you a little backstory in this first video so you know why I'm here. Originally, this whole Nate Night Talks thing started on an app called Clubhouse during the pandemic, where I hosted a very large room that had to do with psychedelics, consciousness, UFOs, real ancient history, etc., etc. And it got very large, and I turned it into a podcast, naturally, as one would do. And built this lovely setup, which is no longer really here. I kind of threw all this together. It's kind of been not used for a couple years because shortly after starting the podcast, I was censored, shadow banned, and had warnings on YouTube after even posting just a few videos because of things I was discussing that are apparently forbidden, but at the same time proven correct and scientific. So I'll leave you to ponder on what that might have been. But nonetheless, I stopped doing it. It kind of discouraged me. It was a lot of work, effort, and love that was poured into it, and an incredible community of my fellow brothers and sisters from around the world who were a part of it, sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, and just sharing humanity together. And so it was kind of hard to walk away from. But this has been on my mind for a while. I've kind of become fascinated with reaction videos, especially during the pandemic. I didn't really understand why I enjoyed watching other people react to music, movies, or whatever. I just did. And recently it kind of came clear to me why that is. And I believe, anyway, from my own personal opinion, is that the reason why people like reaction videos is because, one, we're starved for human interaction and connection and authenticity, which especially during the pandemic was a real big issue in isolation. But just in general, with the way the media and the government is pitting everybody against one another, making everybody hate everyone for no reason. And I believe most people don't think that way. I think most people are good, rational, common sense kind of human beings, and they want community. They want to relate to one another. They want to relate to people who aren't like them. They're curious. They want to know. It's merely a product of those who pull the strings that want you to fear and hate one another for no reason at all. Because when you boil it down, we are all the exact same people. We bleed red. We are humans. We want the same things: love, connection, purpose, community, everything. There is no difference. And anybody who would tell you otherwise is lying to you and has an agenda. And so it kind of became clear to me that the reaction videos are a way that people reach out to one another. They want to know, hey, do you think the same way I do? Do you like the same things I like? Do you react the same way I do when I see things? It is a way, I think, for people to extend an olive branch to one another and try to relate and be friends and just, I don't know, that could just be me, but it seems like that is an undertone of why people like reaction videos, is they want to relate to one another despite what the media would have you believe. People want to connect no matter who they are, where they're from, what they believe. There is a deep desire within us to be a part of a community and not be alienated from people. We want to know what other people think, and we want to know if what we're thinking is in fact either correct or echoed by other people. So anyway, it's been on my mind to do it for a while. Sorry, that was a long intro. And there's a video going around, which I'm sure most of you have probably seen or heard by now, that has gone viral, has taken the world by storm. It is the song by Oliver Anthony, "Rich Men North of Richmond." So I thought this would be a perfect song to do my first ever reaction to. So excited, gonna dive in. And once again, bear with me. It's like midnight right now. It's 1 a.m. actually. I got the itch and just decided I need to do this finally. So if any of you are out there sitting on the fence with something you think you should be doing, but either fear is holding you back or doubt, laziness, whatever it is, we all suffer from it. Just do it. I'm just going to do it, put it out there. Don't really know what I'm doing, but we're rolling with it. So appreciate you being here, rolling with me. But let's dive into this video and see what all of the fuss is about. And hopefully I'm doing this all correct, so in post I can actually put it together. But we'll see, won't we? Let's do it.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, Overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul.
Wow. Okay, I don't want to go any further. I just couldn't stop listening to his voice, for one. Let's just point out the obvious right off the bat. Dude has an incredible voice. Powerful. Got that southern twang going with it too, which I'm honestly not a big country fan. That's the irony of this being my first video. I love all music, but it's just typically not a genre that I've dove into. Some songs I like, but this already is resonating. I love Johnny Cash. I'd say he's probably one of my favorite country singers, but that's like old school country, and that's what this kind of reminds me of. But just right off the bat, man, incredible vocals. Love the ambiance. He's out in the woods, just him and a guitar. That's hardcore, and just proves his talent right there. There's no auto-tune. There's nothing going on here. It's just him in the woods and one of those like deer hunting things, it looks like. So vocals off the charts, already a fan, and just the raw emotion. I am already feeling every single thing this man is saying. You feel emotional already just watching it. You can see the genuine pain in his voice and the authenticity of what he's saying. And it makes sense why it's striking a chord, man, right off the bat, talking about just the struggles everybody's going through, working all day, overtime, shitty pay. He said a lot. I may have to run it back there, but everybody is understanding that now. I mean, pre-pandemic, things were relatively fine, artificially so, but the pandemic destroyed many people's lives financially. And since then, we've had inflation go through the roof. Food, fuel, electricity, natural gas, everything is skyrocketing, and wages are not. And so you have the value of things getting greater and the dollar going down, and you're working overtime, struggling, and you can't even afford to live. This dives into an even deeper question. I'm already going way too deep in this. You can tell this is my first time, but like hearing that's just making me think of the issues of why many people aren't having kids anymore, especially in America and a number of other countries that are having declining populations. I think this is a contributing factor, is that it's hard enough to provide for yourself as a single person. Most people, when they get together, they're both working, still can't even afford things like a house, but let alone the idea of having to provide for a kid, I believe is what's making many people not want to have them, and possibly not wanting to bring them into the crazy world we're living in. But I think the financial component is the biggest part of that, is how can you even afford it when you can barely afford to live on your own? So right off the bat, man, he's speaking to me. He's speaking to, I'm assuming, all of you. This is why this video has 20 million views in 9 days. Let's run it back because I've already forgotten most of what he said. So
I've been selling my soul,
his voice is too good.
working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away.
Oh, God.
Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul.
Wow. Okay. Incredible line right off the bat. I relate to that completely. I've felt like a old soul my entire life, which if you feel that way as well, which I'm sure many of you do, sometimes it's hard to relate to people. You don't seem to care about the same things other people care about, especially if they're more superficial and vain. You're more insightful. You want to talk about deeper things, which many people don't care about. And then you feel alienated and you're like, no, but don't you want to discuss what's going on in the world? Don't you see this? Or like, you ever thought about, what happens after death or consciousness? I mean, maybe that's just me, but like, if you're an old soul, you're pondering the important questions in life, like things that matter, mean things to you, and you're wanting to dive into them and learn about them. And in the world we're living in today, which is corporatized, if that's a word, I think it is, and just full of narcissism and vanity and just artificial everything. It's really hard to fit in now. And caught the other line of, after, working overtime and whatnot, driving home and drowning your sorrows away. I mean, man, I've been there many, many times in life. And it's also been a major issue throughout the pandemic. We've seen, substance abuse skyrocket, mainly because of depression and anxiety and everything that was caused by that whole ordeal. But yeah, I mean, everything he's speaking about, I mean, it's striking a chord with me, and it's striking a chord with everybody. It's incredible. And once again, the vocals are freaking phenomenal. His voice just makes me want to cry, but I'm not gonna do it on the first video. Maybe.
These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. Those are rich men, those are rich men.
Okay, I'm sorry. I gotta do it again. I mean, the song's loaded. It's loaded, just straight heat, truth, facts. Richmond, north of Richmond, obviously the name of the song. Richmond, Virginia, I'm assuming, and north of Richmond would be the capital. There's some ways north of it anyway. I'm assuming that's what he's referring to, i.e. the Richmond in the capital, D.C. politicians. Men who shouldn't be rich by the very salary that they're supposed to be getting from the taxpayers, yet they come out of office worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Ask yourself how that's possible. But nonetheless, that's definitely who he's referring to. And man, does he strike another major truth chord, no pun, with the, they want to know what you think, they want to know what you do. Surveillance state, everything going on. I mean, we're approaching this whole 1984 dystopia, whether it's a combination of big tech mixed with the government, mixed with the intelligence agencies, mixed with all of them being, in cahoots, if you will. It is a surveillance state. That's kind of what we've become. And it started with, basic advertisements. We've all heard the stories. We've all experienced it. Like you're talking to your friend about cheeseburger or whatever, and then suddenly on Instagram or whatever social media you frequent, there's an ad right away for it. We know we're being spied on. We know we're being listened to. And whether it goes back to even the Patriot Act, people being like, well, if you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about, which is a very short-sighted view of any of this, especially when it comes to giving away freedoms and power. And this is what the government wants. They want more power. They want to know what you're thinking, what you're doing, and silence those who are not towing the official narrative, which we've seen very, very frequently, and has only gotten worse more extreme as the years have gone on. But I love the line of they don't think you know, but I know that you do, because people are aware. Most people have woken up to this. Some are still sleeping, but I love that he said that. I mean, that's man, the song it's just great. He's just speaking truth to everybody, not treating anybody like an idiot. Like he's just spilling his heart and his soul, and the things he's talking about are in fact true. Anyway, let's dive back in. Beautiful guitar.
Wish politicians look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street ain't got.
Yeah. If you know, you know. Not trying to get censored this early into doing a reaction video, but wish politicians would look out for minors, not minors on an island somewhere. Pretty sure I know what he's referring to there. Which island and what happened there. I think many of you probably do too. We don't need to dive into it, but that is a very real point. I'm not sure if he's referring to miners as in people working in a mine, or just minors in general as, young people in America, like young people here versus, these atrocities that happen there. But it's also just very timely. This is what's going on. Trafficking and things like that are far worse than I think anybody realized. And yet nobody seems to care. In fact, they're trying to slander people who come out in movies that are made about it as if it's some form of propaganda, which is mind-blowing to me. And I'll preface this just before we even go any further. I don't sit on either side of the aisle. I know who owns them both, and they're the exact same people. I just sit on the side of truth, logic, facts, and the human condition, and understanding kind of history and what we've done in the past. Tells us what we're going to do in the future, because we seem to just repeat ourselves over and over again. But that was a solid line. Let me take it back here.
On an island somewhere, Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord.
Yeah, I'm going to rewind that because I missed what he said there after the obese milking welfare. Obviously, I think we can all agree we should be compassionate, empathetic human beings and help out our fellow brothers and sisters when they're in need. And we used to do that as a country when people were, financially more stable. It was easier to do it. But since the economy's tanked, since the rise of social media and just narcissism and all of that stuff that's come with it, we seem to not care about each other. People's faces are buried in their phones, and the government sure does not care at all. I live in California. You should see what it's like here with the homeless problem. I'm sure you probably have. And they don't care. They don't care about any of it. But yet we have, these welfare system, which does serve a purpose, but you have people who are abusing it. And he was saying something about if you're 5'3", 300 pounds or something, taxes shouldn't pay for something. I'll have to go back and hear what that is. But young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all the country does is kicking them down, I believe, something like that. That is another very real statement that hits home. I'm sure many of you either have lost somebody to suicide, whether it's drug addiction, overdosing. Young men in general are committing suicide at rates higher than we've ever seen, especially during the pandemic, and doesn't seem like anybody cares. It's a real issue, and people are struggling very hard, and then they feel like their voices aren't heard and nobody cares about them. And then you compound that with everything else going on, these unrealistic expectations being set on social media with fake lives, people putting up the highlights of their existence, and then people comparing themselves to those highlights as if that is reality. Everything is just this perfect storm of making people feel like they're not enough and like they can never get ahead, which is really seeming what the song is about, is just, the struggle, not being able to get ahead. Nothing is enough. And you pay these taxes and nothing happens. You don't get anything for it, and you just get kicked down. But that's a very real problem. The suicide rate, not just with young men, but veterans as well. And that's another thing our government doesn't seem to care about. They'll ship them off to war, but not give them any help in the VA and make them wait 6 months, et cetera, et cetera. But let me take it back here really quick. Got lucky there. Bag of fudge rounds. I don't know what a fudge round is. I'm assuming like a candy. That's what it sounds like. I don't know. If you know what a fudge round is, drop it in the comments below. But yeah, I mean, that's the essence, kind of what I assumed it might have been. I just couldn't hear the word. But people, milking the state basically, and using these things to feed an addiction and a problem, and we're encouraging that and whatnot. I know it's a controversial take, but once again, you have to understand everything is a gray area in life. It's no black and white to these things. Like, yes, there needs to be programs to help people who are in need, but those programs shouldn't be abused. And when they are at the expense of people who are busting their butt, working very hard, working overtime hours, and can't get ahead, that becomes like a real kick in the teeth to many people. So I think that's what he's referencing there. Sorry for stopping so much. Once again, it's my first video. Bear with me. Hopefully the insight is worth something. Maybe.
All this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul.
Love that line.
These rich men know And they don't think you know, but I know that you do. Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. Cause the rich men, north of Richmond.
Guitar playing is beautiful.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Wow. I just gotta say, I want to give dude a hug, like real talk. It got me emotional watching that because he was emotional singing that, which is how you know this came from the heart. Said he had to have written this. There's no way that somebody else wrote that. That was too authentic and too real. But like, I just want to give that guy a hug. Like I see the pain. I feel it. I understand it. I empathize with it, and I think we all do. And I guarantee that is why this song is doing what it's doing. I read things already. This is being framed as some right-wing thing or something like that, which is just so crazy to me, man. What is... It's like you... if you have any viewpoint that differs from the mainstream narrative, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you sit on. The second you differ with them on anything, you're immediately labeled as some right winger. It's crazy. Like, they're alienating everybody in the country, including people in their own party, for this. And once again, I don't sit on either side of the aisle. I just observe, and that's very clear that's kind of the case. And to frame this that way, I mean, yeah, a couple things, could be seen as slightly political, but not really. Once again, he didn't call out anybody in particular. He just was referencing the system itself, and the system is broken. It's flawed. It favors the wealthy. It does not favor the average person, the middle income, the low income, people who are the backbone of this country. And that is why this song is blowing up, in my opinion. And once again, just an incredible voice. I mean, as they say, protect this man, protect Oliver Anthony. He's doing good work. He's the real deal. He's the truth. And I anticipate there's going to be a big smear campaign coming down for this poor man, but we got to rally around him. Not just, because of the message, but man, like, I love watching people rise, man. People just coming out and making it happen. I'm one of those like cheesy people that like watch. I don't watch American Idol anymore, but back in the day, and it's at its peak, I would get all teary-eyed when I'd see somebody succeed, and then you watch them cry and break down, and their family break down, because what went into that. Like, how much doubt, how much insecurity, how much sacrifice went into those things. And then to see somebody succeed and rise is the most beautiful thing and encouraging thing, like, for everybody to watch. But in this case, man, very cool to see, and the perfect video for my first ever reaction. So thank you for bearing with me. I'm going to fix a lot of things going forward in this, because I just don't really know what I'm doing. So I'm sure this is probably long, but if you made it this far, awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. Much love.